My name is Thea Flem Dethlefsen and I work for the European Space Agency. Today I would like to tell you a bit about space law. Just like on Earth, we have laws in outer space that tells us what states are allowed to do. These laws were made at the United Nations Committee for the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, and they were made to make sure that space was used for peaceful purposes and for the benefit of all humankind. The main treaty is called the Outer Space Treaty, and it says that everyone shall have access to use and explore outer space as long as they follow the rules in the Space Treaty and in international law in general. That means that states are not allowed to send up weapons of mass destruction into outer space, and they may also not harmfully contaminate another planet. The Astronaut Rescue and Return Agreement says that states shall render all possible assistance to an astronaut in distress. We also have a liability convention because, just like on Earth, if an accident occurs, we want to know who is liable for the damages. The liability convention tells us that if the accident occurs in outer space, we have to look at who is at fault. The registration convention says that states shall register their space objects. This way, we can have a better overview over the man-made activities in outer space. And finally, we have the Moon Agreement. It has some principles about how we should conduct our activities in outer space. However, one of the concepts is a bit controversial, called the common heritage of mankind, about how we should manage and own the moon. Therefore, no spacefaring nation has ratified this agreement. Have you ever watched a clip of the first moon landing, where Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin planted the American flag on the moon? Maybe you thought about what this meant, because back in the day when you planted a flag, it indicated that this new territory was yours. However, no one owns outer space, so planting your flag there won't have this effect. That's because Article 2 of the Outer Space Treaty says that outer space is not subject to national appropriation by sovereignty, by means of use or occupation, or by any other means. Article 1 says that outer space is the province of all mankind. So, if you go to outer space, you're not allowed to bring back your own souvenir because space belongs to all of us. Astronauts are also not allowed to own their own space souvenir. But what other laws would apply if we imagine that they live in an international moon base? If we imagine that the moon base consists of different modules and that each member state have their own module, then it would be the national law of that member state where, for example, a criminal activity is conducted that would apply on board that module. Now, if we compare the international moon base to the International Space Station, then we can imagine that member states would like to make a similar intergovernmental agreement where they agree on how they shall conduct their activities on board, and it would include principles such as peaceful uses and international collaboration. Now, when the astronauts go outside of the moon base and onto the lunar soil, it will be the same space treaties that I was talking about earlier that would apply. That means that if an astronaut wants to conduct a scientific experiment, they have to make sure that they do not interfere with the activities of other astronauts, both current and in the future. It also means that if a criminal activity occurs outside the base, then it would be international criminal law that we also know from Earth that would apply. When we go somewhere new and we have to build a new base, then the easiest way is to use the materials that is already there instead of having to bring everything with you from home. This is especially true when we're talking about distances to the moon. Here we can use space resources such as dust and rocks to use as construction. And if you would like to know more about this, then you can check out the ESA educational video on space resources. Now, for the legal side of it, what we're looking at is how to regulate it so that all states have a fair and equal access to space resources, and that it's done in a sustainable way.